computer, then okay.
So that's actually really common. My work is shadow work. And when it comes up, people are like, they're a little hesitant to talk about it, but it's exactly what they need to talk about. So thank you. I'm honored that you shared that with me.
Right. You're
Very honored that you shared that with me. Because when we get down, like you said, to the sacral chakra, that's where you feel it. That's where you feel it.
Right.
And sometimes you'll feel it like up in your solar plexus. And here's the thing, a lot of people, they don't know what the solar plexus does. They don't know that they're an empath, right?
Yeah.
So they have, just through common things that happen in life, they have created a survival mechanism not to feel all of those things.
Yeah, you do. You
Just,
close them down, you numb them out. It's just like, nope,
nope,
nope.
ain't feeling
Break,
that. Like, I
next,
don't like the way that feels. And here's the thing, because I have been awake since I was like, I should say just, I've always been awake since I was little. So like, I'll be 62 here in a few months. And I had a Lassie dog that I played with because I wasn't allowed to have a dog when I was growing up. So my whole family like teased me. It was awful because I was the only one, obviously, that could see this pretend friend that I was all the time playing with. But like in high school, when you would go into like a high school assembly, there was like hundreds of kids in there, right? We've all been there. We've all been in some type of an assembly or a business meeting. And all of a sudden it's like, whew,
Yeah, right.
you have no idea what happened in this person's life last night, yesterday, what their parents are going through, what their family's going through. And here you've got like hundreds of people like in this one space. And I'm sitting there bawling my eyes out, not knowing what the hell's going on.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So people would say, oh, what's wrong with, and I didn't even have words. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah. You're reminding me of my son a little bit, because when going into school, if it's raining, everybody used to have to go into the assembly hall, like couldn't cope, wouldn't go in there, just like too much. And he's very open, he's very spiritual and stuff, and it's like, he's just sort of wandering through that at the minute. It's all close it down, open it up, like moving through it, and you're just like, yeah, I get it. I did
how
it
old
back
is he?
then. He's now
How old is
10. He's now 10.
Oh, wonderful.
But
Wonderful. How great to have a parent and a mama that understands what that is. Because many people spend decades, and some don't find out. Some absolutely don't find out. And it's not, Claire, it's not that you stop feeling the feelings.
You almost learn to feel them, acknowledge them, open them up, and just not make it mean anything. Like, this is what I say to him with his emotions. He's an emotional center, human design. It's just like, you're meant to move through your emotions. You're meant to feel the anger. You're meant to cry. You're meant to be joyful and happy. And everyone's like, oh, he's just like, oh, he's either up here or he's like, oh, down here. And it's like, great, that's exactly where he's meant to be. Yeah.
So, but when you're an empath, you still feel those feelings. The only difference is, I know now, instead of me crying in the assembly, I know when I feel those feelings now, they're not mine, because I walked in and I was like digging, whatever we were going to go see in this big conference room. I knew that I was like cool when I was walking in there. It's just when I got in there, it's like, oh, there are so many feelings to be felt in here.
Yeah.
But
I really understand that. And yeah, I never felt that as a child. I was more like, yeah, let's go in, and just like, not center of attention, but like really out there, even though I was okay as long as I knew people. But if I didn't know that that person, like networking with people I don't know, I'd always like, ooh, come right back in. It's like, no, you can stay over there. Like, I would never be the first one to like start conversation. I had to like find somebody who I knew in the room, or, you know, and then once I was in the room and I knew that person, then I'm like, okay, and then we're all on. So it's like having to pick out people in the room, even at school, like in the school hall, you'd walk through and go, who do I know? Oh, I know them. And like, you know, go over and then have that conversation with them, and then I'd be okay. But yeah, definitely, as I've started to open up and awaken and stuff, so from like 8 years ago now, yeah, I feel it. So I have to be really careful around what energies and stuff that I'm around. And that's what I'd love to talk about today.
So tell me, so you say 8 years ago, what was there something that shook you awake?
Yeah, 100%. And let's just go in. I haven't normally recorded in this way. I've always introduced. I'm like, this is the next episode, but we started. Let's just take 1 second. We're just going to keep this rolling. But yeah, welcome to anybody who's watching the show today, the Soul Truth Conversation show. I'm Claire Chapman. This is the beautiful Lisa McCoy, and we just got started. And Lisa was like, "Just hit the record, let's go." And because we were mid conversation, you've just been like getting a glimpse of our like behind the scenes conversation, but we're just going to make it the full out front conversation now, because this is obviously where it's meant to be. So welcome. Yeah, I'd love to introduce you to the beautiful Lisa, who we haven't chatted for like such a long time. Let me just introduce you. So this is a beautiful Lisa McCoy, or the real McCoy, as she's known globally. Yeah. And she captivates her audience by like revealing what is hidden deeply within the client's auras, chakra system, and keeps them, you know, that keeps them sidelined in by their life. So her rare gift is the site that enables clientele to quickly address the deep wounds and move forward in the path of creating the reality for their dreams. And this is what we were diving into. We were talking about we're actually talking about suicide, and Lisa has recently you know, been witness to this, and you know, is quite close to her, so we send you all the love, Lisa. And I was just explaining that, you know, I've been on the other side of that. If you haven't heard my story, 8 years ago, I literally, you know, I've become a divorced parent. I was the one that left the marriage, depression, bipolar, divorce, like literally wanting to walk myself out of this world because I just couldn't cope in the situation that I was at. And then Lisa just asked the question, like, did you have an awakening moment? And I did. I literally was one day, I was led on the sofa, the 2 children, they were really young at the time, I think 18 months and 3, they were playing. And it was like, you know, you just physically can't do anymore. Like, you are almost out of this world. And I was led on the sofa and I couldn't hear anything. I could see the children playing. It was almost like a silent movie. It was like, I knew they were there and safe, but it was almost like I was starting to disconnect from everything. And I literally just heard these words that said, you have to help yourself. And I was like, who said that? Like,
the same thing happened to me. You look around, it's like it was in the middle of the night for me, and I sit up in the bed and I thought somebody was in the room.
Yeah. So I looked around and I was like, well, there's nobody here, and there's no way my kids have said, Mom, you got to help yourself. Like, that was never going to be a thing. And so I literally like packed them off up to bed and Googled, you have to help yourself. And that was where the whole self-help world started to open up. And I just went on head deep into this journey of self-development. Who am I? And all these gifts, spiritual gifts, started to open up. And it was just like, what is this world? It was like, wow, completely different to the woman I was before. I love the woman I was before, but I'm more loving life on this side of it.
It got you where you needed to be.
Yeah, because honestly, without that wake-up call, I'm not quite sure where my life was going. I knew I was going to walk out of the marriage that wasn't serving me. I knew that there was for more. I just knew it, but reality wouldn't match up. And it's funny I'm saying that right now, because I was saying the same thing downstairs this morning. It's like, when you close your eyes, like, world's amazing, and you know how powerful you are, and you know all this stuff, and then you have those days where you open your eyes and you're just like, the reality just doesn't match up with the belief system that's inside, what you truly know in your soul. So yeah, I would love to know then, Lisa, like, what do you see, like, how do you move through? I know you were talking about the chakras and stuff just now, like sacral and things like this, like how do you move through this? What do you see? Because I know when you said, oh, your energy's all like this, Claire, and yet deep down here I was like, oh, I feel really heavy, like, should I even be doing this call? But I know once I get on the calls, I'm like, like I come alive, and like, of course, like this is going to shift the energy like that. So
So what is so interesting is that what is held in your sacral chakra is everything that happened to you between the ages of 5, 6 up until you were 11, 12-ish.
Yeah.
So everybody that's listening to this, their lives just flashed in front of them.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that explains a whole lot.
Right.
And so it's really common for the sacral chakra to be blown apart, damaged. When I do all of my readings, a chakra is about as big as around as your diameter of your hand, and it turns clockwise. And it's actually not attached to the physical body. It's out here like 3 or 4 inches where the point of it is, but then the biggest part is like about 18 inches, 2 foot out here in your energy field. And it's like a big old sonar that's going, wah, 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 here I am.
Wow, I never knew.
Attracting all the things. And it's not always what we want, because we attract what we are. Right. And that's a tough one for people to grasp, you and I included. It's like,
right.
Oh my goodness.
When I speak to some of my clients, and it's just like, but you are the creator, you are the power. And even this morning, like I was moving through some human stuff myself this morning, and I was just like, I hate this version of me that is just blocking everything that I wanted to move through. And it's like, but you're doing this to yourself. And it's like, it feels like it's a power outside you, like this is happening to you. But yeah, when you know that you are doing this, I think it's almost twice as bad as if somebody was doing it to you, because you're doing it to yourself. And it's like, you have to take that radical responsibility and just like, yeah, this is how it works. Sorry, just need to get rid of a call. This is how it works. This is what you're doing. But like you say, if this is going back to my hand move off the like the ages of 5 to 11 and things like that, you're not going to remember it. You're not going to straight away go, oh yes, I remember when I was 6 years old, and this is
so this
because
most of my clients don't remember their childhood, and again, that's a survival mechanism too. But if there are things that we remember with an adult mind, we can look back on that and say, well, we have an adult logical understanding of why mom and dad were fussing, or, because we've been through life ourselves, why mom and dad were fussing, or why mom didn't do this, or dad didn't do this, or my brothers and sisters were doing this or that. We can figure that out with an adult mind. The thing is, when it happened, at 6 or 7 years old, like when you were terribly embarrassed to go up to the board in math, right, and was made to do the problems that could have been Japanese as far as I was concerned.
Oh my God, you just took me to reading, like when the teacher would go, okay, you read the next bit, Claire, and you'd be like,
me too.
Was not your thing, and English was not your thing, and you're like, no, I don't.
It could have been Japanese.
And you're like this. Sorry, we can't hear you, Claire. Let's see your face. And you'd be like, really?
Yeah. So here's the thing though. We recorded that in our subconscious. You understand this. We recorded that at 6, 7, 8 years old. We recorded it as a trauma. Yeah. Even though our adult minds, teachers always do that. They're just doing their thing, yada, yada. But we recorded it and downloaded it in our database as a trauma that we just keep repeating. Yeah. Yeah. And it's so funny you say that, because
you know, and I've had many conversations with people, especially my clients and some close friends. It's like close friends, like online space, you know, friends that are awakened. Like, just
I
like,
get you.
we didn't have a bad childhood, like we weren't abused, we didn't have this stuff happen to us, and yet why are we still trying to like, why are these wounds, why, especially being an entrepreneur, I always say it will bring everything up that needs to be shifted. If
Sure
you're going to
does.
feel unworthy, unloved, like fear of judgment, fear of rejection, whatever it is, there is going to be served up on silver platters time and time and time and time again. Like, you don't even need to go and find this stuff, it will come up for you. And so, but like you say, it can be as simple as not being able to read in that moment, or messing up on your words in that moment. That is just as traumatic, because trauma is trauma. And you know, I think then we start to judge ourselves. Well, I was never abused, or this never happened. I had both parents that were really loving and supportive, so why would I feel, you know, why would I have these fears that come through? Like, that's it, because it just, trauma is a trauma.
Right.
Mhm.
And one thing, because I part of when because I see every one of the chakras, I see what's attached to them. For instance, there'll be like shackles around a lot of people's throat chakras. It literally looks like a shackle. So if it's like a black shackle, it's a new situation that has come up. Most of the people, when I do readings on them, it will look like a rusty shackle,
Right. And old.
which has been there, you know, for decades. Some of us have been conceived knowing not to speak.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it wasn't even a question.
Mm-hmm.
And this was so funny when my youngest son had his little girl, you know, they're picking her up at 8, 9, 10 months old, teaching her how to walk, teaching her how to talk. And I said, all y'all are going to do is teach her how to walk and talk, and then tell her to sit down and shut up. We all do it.
Yeah, it's like I remember my mum always saying this story about me. Like, as a baby, I used to sleep for hours and hours and hours, miss feeds, and she phoned up the doctor and was like, my daughter's not waking up for her feeds. And he was like, you'd be on the phone saying, she won't sleep, like, let her sleep, she'll wake up when she needs to. And it was, okay, I can leave my baby there. And then when I had children, I was like, people are like, oh, you know, she needs her feed now, it's been a few hours. I'm like, nope, she'll wake up when she wants to be. It's the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah. So let's see. Lost my train of thought. What was your question?
Collars.
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 Yeah, some of these are okay. So a healthy chakra will be like a biggest diameter, as if it's aligned and working properly, will turn clockwise. The sacral chakra, and also many times, actually probably more often than not, unless, I'm working with somebody very spiritual, been working on themselves, for a few years, it really looks like it's blown apart, just, like blown apart. And it doesn't turn, it just wobbles, just wobble.
So that's an aligned, open sort of chakra. It's just
turning clockwise, just like this. Something so interesting, this just, I'm always fed thoughts. I wonder how many thoughts sometimes, because I work so closely connected to my guides and everything. I wonder, are any of my thoughts my thoughts? Am I running the show at all?
Yeah.
But anyway, this thought just came through to explain to you what happened when my mother passed 5 years ago, with her, how the body reacts, the physical body reacts on an energetic level during the process of passing. So slowly, she had a stroke on Sunday. She passed away the following Sunday. So there was like a week there of the passing process. Slowly, like the root chakra shut down and closed up, and the sacral chakra closed down, because the organs that govern the energy there, the organs were slowly shutting down.
And you could see this.
Yes. It's fascinating. I could talk about this stuff all day. It's fascinating. So her third eye had always been shut. So that was not even in the equation. So the earlier in the week, she knew it was going on. She had signed, what is the thing they signed that they don't resuscitate? What's that called? Living will. She had already signed that, so she knew what was going on, but she could still talk a little bit. So her throat chakra just was open, just a very, very, very small. This is what is so fascinating, is even though the physical body was shutting down, her heart chakra, remember I said it was only like the biggest diameter as your hand. Her heart chakra was 3 to 4 foot in diameter. Coolest thing, Claire, I'm telling you, it was the coolest thing. I'm fascinated by it. It's 3 to 4 foot in diameter, 6 to 7 foot out into the room. So the soul is still passing love, and the chakra itself was spinning, sparkles coming off of it, colors of pink and purple, glitter, like, flying off of it, yellows. It looked like a rainbow, like cotton candy rainbow. Isn't that fascinating?
I'm like, so here's what I'm going to say. I'm sure everybody says this. What do you see?
I already told you, like, you were like, ee!
What colors do you see?
Like, you were, as soon as you got on here, I could feel your energy, first of all, very high. So you must have gave yourself a good talking to before you pushed the Zoom button.
This is what used to happen when I used to dance as a child, and you could be in the most grumpiest mood or whatever, and then go on stage and you'd be like, da-da! And it would just like, your soul just kicks in. It's like, yeah. So like this, it was like, okay, let's hit the button. We were waiting, waiting a few minutes. And I was like, hi, there you are. And it was just like, that's how I am.
So it really looks like a burst of sunshine. So here's the thing. So right through here in your head area is bright yellow. So bright yellow is focus. Obviously your thoughts are very focused. Mm-hmm. So the flip side of that, when I'm doing readings for other people, is because the flip side of that, you can see also when their thoughts aren't so great.
Yeah.
Okay. So yours is very bright yellow, and it's like a burst of sunshine because you're very, very focused. So the flip side of that is sometimes people have a recurring thought. It's like the hamster wheel. We all have one. It's an ugly voice. We all have one.
Yeah, that was running on him.
Yes. So sometimes it will look like a black helmet that people have on their head, and when this black, because it's depending on how much we allow that thought to reoccur, it gets thicker. This out here, it can't not leak out here in your energy field. So this out here around people's heads sometimes, depending on how ugly their thoughts are, can be as like a dark red, which is all the muddy colors are low vibrating colors that have like grays in them, or olive greens and blacks and browns. Those are low.
Determines you can yellow would be quite high. Good.
Yes. And the bright colors, because some of them are so bright, Claire, if you and I would look at them with just our human eyes, we would squint or close our eyes. They're so bright.
Right. Because that's fascinating. So yeah, I love being open and honest. So like I said this morning, like I was literally crying like a baby with my coach, and just like, it never happens for me. In reality, it always looks so different. That's the thought. So I was like, yeah, it's the same thing. I'm not enough. It's never going to happen for me. That's my reoccurring. And I literally said in the end, do you know what? Even though it's never going to happen for me, I'm doing this. Even though this, even though I know I'm not good enough, I may as well just carry on doing it anyway, because I had to try and soften that off. So I wonder if doing that exercise has actually allowed, could the color have been very different had I have not?
Yes.
Like it shifts in the moment, does it? The color
yes. Excellent question. Because you're not stuck with whatever colors in your energy field? Excellent question, because it can change us like snapping your fingers.
Yeah.
We get to decide.
Yeah. Yeah.
We get to decide.
So I'd be really interested then, because I want to talk to you then about the root chakra for me, because every time I sort of either have a reading or somebody's, reading about me, they always go down to the root chakra, and it almost feels to me like it's been padlocked off. Like if we sink into sex and things like that, I'm just not bothered. And you see a lot of feminine energy and pleasure energy and that on the online space. And I'm just like, whatever. Like, I just don't get it. Is that down in the root chakra? Like, can you see what happens with it? So if somebody's, fully opened and to receiving, like, I feel this is a very sort of receiving type. I don't know, I'm not really into, I don't really get all this, hence all my questions, because I think this is fascinating, and I know women are going to have so many questions for you afterwards on this, but like, is that true what I'm saying, what I've sort of been told about the root chakra? Like, is that the receiving? Is that where the sexual energy comes from? Like, can you see if it's closed off, whether it's open? Like, what do you see with that?
Okay, I don't sugarcoat anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. Yeah.
When is a lot? In my readings, we talk about anything and everything. Anything and everything. So, and this is what my guides are telling me. When is the last time you masturbated? Self-pleasured?
A week and a half, 2 weeks, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. See, a lot of the clients that I work with, this is everybody, and you do too. You do too. A lot of coaches work with these people. They don't think anything exists down here below their chin.
Yeah.
It's all right here.
Right.
Ain't nothing else down there.
Yeah. Probably like, oh, energy sometimes that you're feeling. Then you're like, oh, now I can feel that. Yeah.
Yes. Now, sometimes I will see in that area, like from the waist down, clear down to above someone's knee. This is going to be in the hip area. It looks like chainmail. Do you know what chainmail is? It's what they used to wear years ago in the dark ages under their armor. It was like a chain suit.
Yeah.
Yes. So that is what's covered, and I see that, and it's weighted. You can feel the weight on it. In that area. So sometimes I will see that. Sometimes clients will hold physical weight there. But then there's a lot of emotional stuff that's attached to that weight, and that could be a whole nother conversation. Just in that.
Everything that I'm currently going through as well. Like, I feel like the sexual side, like, not all the time, but I feel like it's chained off. Like, it's literally padlocked up. Now and again it comes off, and then so I feel that. And then at the moment, there's lots of weight, like a good 8 pounds or so that's gone back on since last year, and I can't get the food, the exercise and stuff right. And I do believe that that's like emotional as well, that's being held there. I'm going through another shift. So it's kind of like, even though it does annoy me, and I know I could go on a really strict diet and do the exercise like I was last year, I'm just like, I'm obviously moving through things. And the hip as well. I got a hip thing going on right now. So everything you're hitting on, I'm like,
gosh. So sometimes when we carry weight in that area, or we carry physical weight, it is to make us emotionally feel like we're being hugged.
Ooh, I like that. Right.
It also, this is for people that are very overweight, it also keeps people away.
Yes. I was having this conversation with a friend.
Ain't going there. Ain't touching this.
Exactly. It's like, what would happen if you were really fit and healthy? And I was really fit and healthy last year. Like, I could focus on it. And then Simon had a stroke. So of course you can imagine life, that prepping food and, eating healthy and the emotions just took over. Exercise, there was no energy for exercise. It was like, is my man alive? How is he today? Can he walk today? You know, it was down to that level that all that just went out the window. And I was like, but so I have been fit and healthy, but I do think there is a thing connected to sex with that as well, because when, like you say, when we're fit and healthy and we're attractive, we're going to attract. It's like, well, if that's coming in, you know what, I just put a few little rolls on. No, I'll just keep him back for a minute. Like,
some people know they're doing that. Most of us don't. Most of us don't. I have had clients say, well, at least I did that on purpose.
Right.
So they'd quit catcalling me. So let me talk about the root chakra. So some of our shit is not our shit.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
However, we signed up for it.
We took it on. We signed up.
We signed up. We agreed to it. We agreed to the shit. Okay. So let me explain what all that means. So everything that's held in the root chakra is everything from conception to 5-6 years of age.
Right.
Okay. So that means that as soon as the sperm and the egg come together and make a cell, that is the beginning of our root chakra. This is the root chakra. The root chakra is literally that little like 1.5 to 2-inch piece of skin that is right between the vagina and the rectum. That's exactly where the root chakra is.
You just made me think of something then. I literally tore right through when I had my first child.
Oh, I did too. It was awful.
So does that get affected? But then you were saying this was between conception and 5. So obviously that wasn't me at that age.
Right. Oh my goodness. But let me sit with that one. Wow. Wow. I'll get back to you on that one. That's so fascinating.
Would that affect me though? Would that, or is this like when I was younger? This is more about my mum and
it's all tied together. It's all tied together. Oh my goodness, there's so many things now.
I had the best surgeon though. Even my midwife was like looking, she went, wow, that was a brilliant stitch up. So I was proud of that one.
Yeah, I couldn't walk for a while, but yeah.
Okay.
So here's the thing. Here's what I want everyone to understand. So let's explain the root chakra, how that becomes a thing by describing a rape.
Right.
So we've got the fellow over here, enraged, feeling all these very dense feelings. Anger, he might be high, he might be drunk, he might be both. And all those emotions vibrate, right? We understand the law of attraction. If we want to attract something of high vibration, our physical needs to be high vibration. So if we're going to speak about this and explain it as in a rape, those are very low, dense, vibrating emotions, right? His whole body and energy field is vibrating with those emotions, including his penis, including his sperm. Okay. So we've got the female over here, some of the same emotions: anger, rage, guilt, shame, ashamed, abandonment, fear, all of those things. Same thing. She's vibrating all of those dense emotions. Her eggs are also vibrating that way. So during the rape, the sperm finds the egg and is conceived with all of those dense emotions. Does that make sense? So when I say some of our stuff is not our stuff, like literally, some of our stuff is not our stuff. So the only thing this egg knows is vibration. It doesn't know this jerk just raped my mom.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So it marinates in that vibration for the next few weeks, the next few months. So let's shift the story a little bit to where the gal that was raped was a 15-year-old Catholic girl
Mm-hmm.
or Southern Baptist girl.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the thoughts that she's going to be thinking?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Shame, disgust.
Yeah.
Not a good girl.
Right. All those things.
Yeah.
So baby in utero here, because our body vibrates, our thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have to be a spoken,
Yeah.
because our thoughts vibrate. I see them in
Yeah.
people's energy fields when you are asking me, like, what color is this up here? It can't not leak out here into your energy field. That's just how it works.
Right.
So baby in utero is marinating in all of those thoughts of guilt and shame and abandonment and fear.
Yeah.
So is that making sense?
Yeah.
Like, so when my clients show up in front of me, they're in midlife thinking, shouldn't I be grown up by now? Because they're still feeling like they don't even know. It's like, where did all this stuff? Why do I still feel like this?
Yeah. And I guess, like, if you know, like, I didn't, like, my dad didn't rape my mom or anything like that.
Right.
Child and stuff. But I guess it's whatever the emotions were around that time. There may have been frustration. I don't know. I haven't asked my mom, but there may have been frustration. They've been trying for a while,
All those things.
So, but so it's around the frequency when things were coming together.
Right. So it could have been a married couple and it's not rape. But forcible sex. Mom has already got 3 kids, financially strapped. Her thoughts are, what am I going to do with another kid? I can't feed the ones I have now.
Yeah.
You and I know that that's just life.
Yeah. So what if, like, I seem to have, or a thought that I had, like, this picture perfect, like, this is what I'm saying, like, my mom and dad, they love each other deeply. My brother was 2 years before me, so it's all like, this picture perfect type thing.
Right.
We had lovely houses, we went on holiday, so it's just like, okay, so even that kind of doesn't resonate. I wouldn't put that towards my mom and dad type thing, but who knows, she always says, oh, you were such easy kids to carry, and she had, like, the perfect easy birth. So I'm just like, could this come from, and I think, I've heard this before, where you can go back generations, like even my grandmother was sort of carrying me and so on.
Yes. That's where
happened. Like, it was never spoken about, but either my grandmother or my great grandmother, and they come in to me a lot.
Yes. I was just going to say, let's go deeper.
Right.
Okay. When we as women are born, we are born with all the eggs that we are going to need for our entire lifetime of cycles, which means you and I were present in our mothers when our mothers were in our grandmother's womb.
Right. Yeah.
So, like, what time frame would your grandmother have been living? Like in the 40s and the 30s? Mine would have been during the Depression here in the United States, in the 30s.
Yeah. Well, my grandmother was 96. She passed away, I think it must be almost coming up for 10 years. Yeah, coming up for 10 years. She was 96 10 years ago. So what was she been in? I got her cards and her dates. Give me 2 seconds. They're just here. This is fascinating. And I know this is not where I expected this conversation to go, and I'm loving it. So yeah, Philippa. So this is my grandmother, Philippa.
Oh,
so Philippa,
1920.
So 1920s. Yeah, that was when she was born. And she's Philippa Eva. I never knew her middle name. My daughter's called Eva Louise. Apparently my great mother was Eva Louise, and I had no idea. No.
How cool
Yeah.
is that?
Right.
How cool is that?
I think it was either, because I've had a reading before where somebody said, and I'm all about like women not conforming, and this is where it comes through. So I'm not sure if it's her or my grandmother, but something happened. And I think there was something to do with an army guy or something, but because it was never spoken about, we
Yes.
don't quite know. But I know of something, something
Yes.
happened, whether they were raped, whether, somebody tried it on with them or something. But then we've been brought up in a family where you don't speak about sex. It's all very, you don't have sex under my roof. And, I think it was always a subject that was never really spoken about. And weirdly, then when I went off the rails, and just because, I could then have free expression and go and do that, but felt the guilt. All right. So it felt good.
Right.
Also kind of brought in this guilt. So this real confusing, feels really good, but then it's kind of like wrong at the same time.
Intertwined at the same, it feels good, and there's guilt and shame and being ashamed that's attached to it. It's very closely intertwined. So what are some of the things that would have been going on during her lifetime? Like during her lifetime, women were more than likely very oppressed, not allowed to have a voice.
Yes, exactly.
It was really looked down on to have a voice, to have an opinion, to have an opinion, let alone say what it was.
Yeah.
They were, many of them, either forced to work or forced not to allowed to work, one or the other. So would it make sense then, like, okay, if I think about it in those terms, that's how vibration gets passed down to generation.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It is. I could talk about it all day.
Right. So you can kind of see that area. Like, can you see, like, even when we sat down, can you see like the root chakra on me?
Yes. And it is closed. It is closed down.
Right.
It is closed down. So here's the thing. What is so interesting is the root chakra governs the organs in that area, like in the hip area. You said that your hip, you had a hitch in your get along, in your hip area. So isn't that fascinating? So the root chakra also governs everything that is the foundation of our physical life.
Right.
Which means the physical body, So it governs the bones, it governs the blood, it governs the lymphatic system. Do you follow me? So it governs everything that holds our physical body together. So to give you an example of that, there's 10 years between my older brother and I, and then 13 between my older sister and I. My mom was not planning on any other children. She had her 2 kids. She was not. So here comes Lisa in 1959.
Yeah.
Was not a wanted pregnancy.
Right.
So, which I could go into things I've been shown with that. But 5 years later, she is pregnant again with my younger brother. And again, not planned. She was 38.
Right.
So I was born with no sense of belonging, very insecure, and abandonment issues, which are 99% of the time, we all carry abandonment issues in our root chakra, because that has to do with feeling like we were abandoned by source. But we also our soul chose to come here.
Yeah.
So there's abandonment issues in just about everybody's root chakra. So here's the thing. If I already have abandonment issues and 5 years later, my younger brother shows up, the foundation being of the root chakra, being of the blood and the bones and the skin,
Yeah.
would it make sense to you? It doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it right. Would it
Mhm.
make sense to you that he has lymphoma?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And again, you know, it doesn't make it right, but it would make sense to you
Yeah.
that
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
that he
And I
has
think
lymphoma.
sometimes like this is what, when I speak in my world, when I speak truth, like you say, that is truth. That's is not always true. It's not always what we want to hear. It's
Right,
not always, but to me, that makes total sense.
right.
And even everything that I'm feeling makes total sense. It's like, I know that's closed off, and I've done so much work, so much root work, so much, going into this and stuff like that. So I know it's there. I know and it's just like, yeah. And I know with the hips and stuff, I'm like, why is it the hips? Like, I didn't have a problem before, but there is something coming in now. And weirdly,
Right.
my mum is the same at the minute. So this is very bizarre. My mum's the same. She has hip stuff going on.
Interesting. Have you been to the chiropractor
Yes.
and
Yeah.
been adjusted?
Yeah. Yeah. I've been adjusted, but it's like so I'm hyper what do you call it, where you like hyper movement, so I can, everything goes a bit backwards and everything, so it's hyper. But yeah, this muscle thing with this leg, it's just like it just doesn't want to move. And she's like, go get an x-ray or something, make sure. And I said, look, I literally woke up and it just
Right.
like it just happened. This isn't something that's built up over time. It doesn't make sense. But I'm like, there's an emotion connect. There's something.
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
think when the emotion, whatever that is, when that comes out, I know the leg is going to open back up fully at the hip.
Right.
Like I just know that. When I don't know, but that's that's my
So how often do
almost
you do
there.
yoga? Because I'm seeing you cry during yoga.
Every time I do yoga, I end up after a few times of doing it back in the chiropractor because it hurts. Like it causes where it should be lovely and supple and all this stuff. It
Right.
actually, I end up really sore and hurting, and I end up back at the chiropractor. So I've backed right off of it.
They're saying to keep going to yoga.
Okay.
I don't
Makes
kill the
sense.
messenger. Don't kill the messenger.
No,
Go back, because what I'm seeing is the emotional release.
right.
You know, what's so fascinating is that 15 or 18 years ago, I went to my chiropractor, and he's intuitive as well. And he would always tell me, Lisa, quit holding your breath, quit holding your breath. And then I would argue with him, I'm not holding my breath. And he says, yes, you are, hold your breath. Here I would have been like in my late 40s then, and was going through all of the awakening stuff. I went through the awakening clear before the internet was really a thing. So finding information was like really a challenge, like what's happening and what's going on. And he had popped my back, and my whole back and the back of my arms broke out. Like, you know how like your blood vessels will like immediate, like if you've got nerves or something, my daughter's, you can tell when she's nervous because her chest and her neck will get really red.
Yeah.
He says, oh, we got some emotional stuff coming up here.
Oh, see, I wish I could find somebody like that local. I've been looking and I just can't, because that just fascinates me.
It is because so let's go back to the rate for just a second, because what is held right there in the back, you know, we were talked about being emotional. So our if the penis is vibrating all of those dense emotions after a rape, there's many women that have a really, really hard time having sexual relationships, because what happens if all of these negative emotions from the penis touch the vaginal wall, the vaginal wall remembers all of that in our cellular memory. So that's when a lot of people will do yoni eggs and yoni wands and do so much clearing in that area. It doesn't necessarily even have to be a penis. It could be a finger, because our thoughts vibrate,
Well,
and our whole, speaking about the back, my younger brother that has lymphoma, he showed up on my back door a few years ago, had a deep tissue massage, and had like a meltdown on the table.
yeah.
So he come to the door and he says, Lisa, like, what is this about? Like, what the hell, man?
I'm going,
So
tell me more.
I had no idea. I don't know where I was at the time, but when he was 5 years old, something happened, and my mom used all of us kids as a whipping post.
Right.
So if you can imagine the rage, she found out something. My little brother was 5. And remember where I told you that the root chakra holds everything from conception up to 5-6 years of age. Deep tissue massage when he's in his 50s, this is coming out. So my mom, those orange race car tracks, the ones that are flexible, the Hot Wheels flexible ones, she would grab anything she could grab.
Right.
She grabbed a piece of that race car track and beat him on his back. It was during the summer, so all he had on was a little pair of shorts.
Yeah.
So all of her anger and her rage from her thoughts vibrated down her arm, through her hand, and through this race car track, ended up on his back.
Right.
So the cellular memory is downloaded with all of that stuff.
Wow.
He shows up, 5 decades later, like, why am I having a meltdown?
Right. And it was the release.
Yeah, of that. And he had never told me about that until that night. And, I had this discussion with my guides just last week. Can't you just explain stuff to me? Do I have to go through all of it? Just tell me.
Yeah.
Can you just tell me?
So much easier. Yeah.
Kind of like what you were saying, like, do I have to cry and go through all the mud? Do you have to drag me through the mud?
But for me, like, the physical needs to undo that experience. Like, I love energy work and stuff as well, but I love the mind, the body, and the soul. Like, when like I do quite a bit of tapping, and when I tap, like, it comes out the physical body.
Very
My
powerful.
head goes different because I've done so much mindset work, but when it's held in the body,
right,
has to be it has to be released from the body, because the body holds the memory.
Right. So can you go to there's a dark room that's in your mind? Can you go to this dark room in your mind? Okay. Do you feel okay there?
No.
Like, are you afraid of the dark?
I used to be.
Yeah. Okay, hang on just one second. In your dark room, it kind of feels cold and damp. Does it? Okay. Do you see a door in front of you, about 6 foot in front of the door?
Yeah.
Okay. So you can make your way to that door and open that door. And are you standing in just light right now?
I'm still in the dark room. The door's open and I can see light on the other side of the door.
Good.
But I'm still in the dark room.
Open the door. And are you standing in the light now?
It's almost like I can't take the step through the door.
Interesting.
So I'm still in the dark room. I've pushed the door open. It's a wooden door. The wooden door's open. There's like a yellow, white. The whole room just is like yellow and white on the other side.
You can see it.
I can see it, but I'm just like planted.
Yeah, feels like you're paralyzed.
Yeah.
Interesting.
but it feels okay that, do you know what I mean? It's not like I want to get to the light. It's just like, just here.
Bear with me just one second, because the door's unlocked.
Oh, it's open. It's fully open.
Yeah. It's unlocked, and okay, this is metaphoric. Okay, so for instance, psychics, everyone is psychic. We're getting fed psychic stuff all the time. We don't know one has to do with another.
Yeah.
So remember the blackboard that I was telling you about just a few minutes ago? We in math class, and we had to go. I was never the one that wanted to go to the blackboard. I was daydreaming.
Right.
I was daydreaming out the window. Come to find out, I was never supposed to learn math. I was supposed to get really good at daydreaming, because that's what I get paid to do,
Right.
is daydream now. So our dreams and our psychic abilities are metaphors. They come into us in metaphors. And that's why people think, well, I'm not intuitive, I'm not psychic, when in fact, we're being fed pictures and words all the time.
Yeah.
So this is a metaphor for the next step in your life. You're going to stay right where you are. I can see it. It's right over there. See, I can see it over there. I think I'm going to stay right here.
Yeah. It's almost like there is no need to go through there. Yes, I don't like standing in a dark room, but it's like, I don't want to be where I want to be.
Right.
But the door is wide open. Why the hell can you not just take
one step? So does it
feel that in the chest now? I can feel it in the chest and the heart. It's almost like,
does it in this dark room? It almost feels like it smells musty. Can you smell it?
It's like it's oh, you know what it is? The old story. Like it's old, but I've almost become accustomed to that actually it feels like I know it's not where I want to be, but I know it.
Right. It's comfortable.
I know this. It's too comfortable, even though on a daily basis it hurts to be here because I want to be in the light, but it's almost like, but at least I know there is no need to move. There is no need to move.
Right. It's like sleeping with the devil that you know.
You
know it's a devil, but you know what it does.
Right. Yeah.
So it feels okay to you to smell that musty smell, and for it to be kind of cold and be kind of damp, because this is representing your life.
Yeah. And it's like
where you're at.
That's
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. It's not what I desire. It's not what I want. But you get used to it. You just.
Yep. We've all been there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've all been there. So bear with me just one second.
Mm-hmm.
There's more to learn in the damp room. Okay, so what they're showing me, and this came up a few minutes ago, and we were talking about something else. During the pandemic, when they shut everything down, I was getting DMs right and left, like, Lisa, I'm hearing stuff and I'm seeing things like, what is this? Like, because it was the first time in some people's lives that they had ever had the opportunity to sit still.
Yeah.
And they were saying, I'm hearing things like what we had talked about a minute ago. Like, hello.
Said that. Yeah.
I'm hearing stuff like I've never heard things like, what is this? I know it's not me. So it was the first time people had sit in stillness, because life is so busy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hit the floor running. Kids have to be here. We have, X, Y, and Z appointments today.
Yeah.
What that is referencing is this damp room. There's more for you to sit there and learn before walking out the door.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
There's more to learn here.
Mm.
And most of the time, we don't move until there's enough pain to make us move.
Yeah. Oh, I always move on the pain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
it's the pain that shakes us awake. Like, okay, I don't know what the rest of my life's gonna be like, but it ain't gonna be like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's probably where we're at, because we're sort of okay at the minute. So it's like, yeah, you don't need to move forward. But yeah. I guess, you know,
there's no urgency.
There's no urgency. I know where I'm at. I've been here many times before. So it's just like, yeah, like is almost comfortable in the uncomfortableness. It's familiar, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's like, until that push will kick you through, but I don't want that to happen. I want to just be able to go, okay, let's step through.
When's the last time you had a photo shoot?
Last year.
Does that kind of get you like going?
I do like, yeah, I like to be in front of the camera. Yeah.
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 Yeah. So it motivates us to step out of our comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
And gets the juices rolling. And like, it's almost like we get to pretend, but you know, our imagination is real. You know, they didn't tell us that growing up, that our imagination is real, because we can make shit with our imagination.
Yeah.
But it's like, because I'm planning a photo shoot, that's why I asked. And I just went to a rebranding class, which I'm just like totally digging on. And I'll let you in on a secret. I'm doing a photo shoot with wolves. There's a girl locally that raises wolves, and I am like so stoked. Like,
love it.
Okay, so life has been trying to throw me to the wolves for decades. Let me show you.
I love this so much. I love it. I love it.
I'll just show you. I'll lead the pack.
I love this so much. I love it.
That allows us, it's not that we're not that, because we are that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So play with that and step out of your comfort zone a little bit.
Yeah. Like, we have the most beautiful home, and you know, I'm just looking at fields and the woods and stuff like that. It is beautiful, but it's coming up. Do you know what? Yeah, sometimes you just need to walk out and go into the city, like have some change up,
a little vibey.
That as well. And it's funny, because I was only saying today, like even the coffee shops and stuff around me, I'm just like, they're not high vibe. They're not, you know, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I might be better just sitting at the kitchen table again, like, because you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
It's like, where can I go? Like, even just go for coffee and work from, with like really good vibes and stuff. And it's like, I'd have to go quite a long way, because we're in the middle of nowhere, like at the same time. So so
not that you don't love that, because I'm considering the same thing, moving, like, because the city's moving out to our little town. I live in a very, very small farming community.
Right.
We have three stoplights. And when my abilities reawaken, because I always knew everything, but like in my mid-40s, they reawakened, like the floodgates opened. It's like, okay, you stuck me in this little farming community. What am I supposed to do with that?
Thanks.
In the middle of nowhere. I have no one to talk to. But it's, you know, that is where we crave, the stillness is where we crave, where we can hear all the things and see all the things. But the vibe is good to get out in the vibe and change our environment.
Go into the city.
I
love this, Lisa. I could talk to you all day long, and I know we will talk again.
Absolutely. Let's play again. I love
Yeah.
to play.
Do you have
Is it
anything else that you can see right now that you want to bring up or you want to discuss?
has to do with your root chakra and how I do readings, which is so interesting because most people start at the root chakra and work up. I work from the crown, above the crown chakra, which is where the soul resides, is above the crown chakra down.
Mm-hmm.
The first, because I spend a few weeks explaining spiritual principles and how things work and soul contracts with my clients, because if they don't understand those principles, the rest of the reading doesn't make sense.
Doesn't work. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So one of the first exercises I give everybody is mirror work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I kind of trick them in to working on their root chakra long before we get there.
Right. It's funny you say that because just the other day, I was like going through this ego stuff, not liking myself, this, that, and the other. And I knew that was different in my mind. And I thought, just take a photo of yourself. And I literally took a photo and then I looked into my eyes, I looked into my soul. And what I saw was like somebody who's very beautiful, very kind, very loving, very strong, very determined, adventurous, funny. And I literally had to write all of that out to be able to see what is, that is the truth. That was what was within me, because the ego was telling me something out. And it is such a strong exercise, like you say, whether it's in the mirror, whether it's looking at yourself, like there is another version, a truth version that's within and underneath. And it just shifted everything. And that was around wealth, I think. It, you know, the persona that I'd created for what a wealthy woman was definitely not what I saw. And I had to recreate that identity of a wealthy woman and relabel what a wealthy woman was. And it was me. It was all those elements that was in the soul of my, you know, within me. It was like, yeah, that gets to be a wealthy woman. That is a wealthy
beautiful
woman. So that, yeah, the mirror, the looking.
Right. So that was one of the first exercises my guides gave me. And I've always worked out, done the diet thing, watched, you know, I'm not so much the last couple years, been so great about it. But I've always worked out, never had a body image issue. And this was in my mid 40s when all the work began, because I was in a really toxic marriage, very abusive, toxic marriage. So my guide said, we're going to go to the bathroom mirror. You're going to say, Lisa, I love and cherish you. I forgive you and I am enough.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here I am thinking, cool, I'm a badass. I'll just march right in there and do that.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Put my shoulders back, the girls out front here, my chin up, put my hands on my waist, and I stood there, and I'll be damned, my throat closed up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you know what it feels like. It hurts. It closed up.
Yeah.
And in a split second, Claire, I realized, you know, over 4 decades, I realized I had no clue what love was in a split second.
Mm-hmm.
Because I could not, the words would not even come out.
Mm.
And at the time I was raising 7 children, 3 of them that were not even mine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 Fascinating.
Very, very powerful. Started to cry. I got mad, of course.
So that's always the first, isn't it? That comes out. You get angry, you get frustrated.
I got mad. It's like, what is that about? Then I cried.
Yeah.
And I cried some more because, like you said, your eyeballs are the windows to your soul.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it happened in a split second.
Mm-hmm.
So I got really, really good at that. And then So my guide's name is Lomas, and he refers to himself as my sex therapist.
Love it.
He's a hysterical. He says, okay, we're going to up the ante today. You know, so I'm all ears. I'm a badass now in the mirror, right? I am the badass because I could do it in the mirror. Upping the ante meant we went to the full length mirror, butt ass naked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is a whole nother level.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Of putting the chin up, putting the girls out, your shoulders back, you know, seeing all of this and saying those, Lisa, I love and cherish you.
Yeah.
I forgive you. I am enough.
Yeah, we're so harsh on ourselves. So harsh. And it's funny you say that, because I've got a program coming out, a 4-week program, and I was just channeling through content and the context of it and the feeling of it. And there's a group of women, so I know it's a group. And literally I was just seeing these women just like strip it, because it's all about owning all of who you are for expanded like alignment in business and things like that. And I literally just saw them all taking their clothes off and just like walking naked, because it's like, if you can do that, and all of that, then you're good.
Yes. If you can speak those words naked and be confident in your nakedness, clothes are just a bonus.
Yes. They just keep you warm.
They just get in the way, actually. Oh my goodness.
I love it.
But there's more to the mirror work. I'm going to leave that to y'all's imagination. But way more to the mirror work. And I am so excited about your course. That sounds amazing. So amazing.
Yeah, thank you. It's amazing. Lisa, it's been incredible having this moment with you. And I know
I'm honored. Thank you.
Thank you for bringing all your gems. Like, I never know what we're going to speak about on these shows, because I don't like pre-scripted. I just think whatever's meant to come through here will come through for myself, for you, for anybody watching. Like, and every show is so vast and so different, because that's exactly who we are. We are different. We are all made of one, but we have our uniqueness and our experiences and stuff. And I think the more women that can speak, you know, their gifts and speak their experiences and share, that, you know, we just start to raise, you know, the vibrations go out one at a time. We just change and rise. And especially women are so deep to me. Like, I just love women, and, you know, helping them to empower themselves and using the tools and the skills and the gifts that you have that will allow that. And I know I'm going to reach out to you. So I want to thank you so much. Could you tell our viewers, where can they come and find you? Like, now we've got a small glimpse of what you do and your magic.
Yes.
You hang out.
I sent the links. You can
I'm in the show
attach
notes.
the links. Most of the time I'm at Facebook. I know a lot of people hang out on Instagram. I'm not so much there as much as I used to be. Yes, the Instagram coaches, I know I need to be there. On Facebook most of the time.
Yeah. So Lisa McCoy on Facebook. Amazing. Well, I want to thank you again. It's been incredible. And yeah, go out and find Lisa and connect with Lisa, because she's going to help you change your life. So on to the next episode. So much. You are welcome. Thank you. I love you. And we'll speak to you all soon. Bye.